Happy Good Friday, everybody. Today I sleep in and DN gets hit by a cease and desist order. I will never sleep in again. Hello Duelist, Tombox here, and today if you have logged into Dueling Network, you may have noticed a slight change. That change being all the images have been removed and the font of the cards on that card image preview has been changed. This is caused by the cease and desist order issued by NAS, Nihon Ad Systems, which apparently owns the intellectual property rights to Yu-Gi-Oh! At least for the anime and maybe the card game. I'm not too sure. I actually have to Google this, so don't quote me on this. But for sure, all the images have been removed. Even on DN's Twitter, they have stated that there's nothing wrong with the computer. It's just they have copyright claims on the IP. So what are my personal opinions about the situation? Well, if the claims are correct and NAS owns the intellectual properties of Yu-Gi-Oh!, then yes, they can actually file the cease and desist and remove all the images from Dueling Network. We should be glad nothing more is occurring, but I don't know. Who knows? Time will tell. So far, there is no claim saying Konami had any involvement with this cease and desist order. However, now this raises a few questions. Question number one is, what if this is like a hypothetical question. Now, what if down the road, maybe 2-3 months from now, Konami pushes another online platform for us to play in, and they don't charge the players cards? Like, you have all the card access and have all the automated systems, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, Dev Pro, all the automated systems that we have already. And instead of charging you for cards, they charge a subscription service. Like, what would you think about that? That's actually an interesting one, because, like, personally, if they did have a subscription service and we don't have to pay to get cards, then it's less so a pay to win, rather than you can actually just build a deck that you want. You can play whatever you want. You can play for fun, and maybe there'll be a rated system too, and like it'll be officially supported by Konami, so that's kind of nice. So maybe there'll be like better tournament platforms and everything. But what would you think about that? Like, if Konami, rather than do like the pay for card model, they did like a pay to play online. You know, something to think about. I thought it'd be pretty cool if it's like officially supported by Konami, rather than screwing us over by limiting our packs and stuff. I really hated that. That was like the #1 downfall of all the previous ones, is you have to buy packs. And I already have to buy packs in real life. I don't want to buy packs that are digital, and eventually you shut down the service, so no, that's not worth it. But then again, Konami is, you know, really good at making casino games. If you go to Vegas, there are many games that are made by Konami. And there's also that Silent Hill pachinko machine. Aside from that, okay, another question that a lot of people are asking, like, will DN survive this fiasco? Now, looking at the numbers, the initial numbers, it doesn't look too good, because DN should be at its peak hour right about now. And it's not. It actually, a lot of players have stopped playing DN, and I was checking the toxic chat. Oh my god, why did I check that toxic chat? I checked the chat, and a lot of people are saying, rest in peace, DN. Oh man, no card, no image, no game. And like, this is really annoying, and to some degree, I agree with me. It is very annoying. Like, naturally, we associate the card effect with the card image. We don't read the cards after we read it once, but now you have to read every single card title, so the card name and the card effect, just to make sure you're doing the effect right. Like, you read the card name, you should usually know the effect by then, but if you haven't, it's kind of like backtracking. Like, you've already known the effects for so long, and now you have to basically relearn the effect by reading the name and associate it with the name of the card rather than, well, the image. You look at the image, you know what happens. Now you can't do that. You lose that association. So that really sucks. Now, but to some degree, all the high-level players, they're not really deterred by this, because they play for the fun of the game, not just the card image. Of course, it does take away from the experience of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, some people just play because they love the card art, like the archetypes art, and taking that away, just don't want to make them play anymore. So that kind of forces you to play the real cards, or you can move on to another platform like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, Dev Pro. Now, what are some ways to save DN? Now, to save DN, there's quite a few ways. Since the claims are mainly about the images and I guess the font as well, we do have a huge fan base on Dueling Network, and I'm sure there are many artists in there. Why don't we just create a fan art base for the entire collection? I know that's a lot of cards, but some cards are like rarely even played, so you can actually kind of prioritize which cards need art first. and which one don't need them. Like, say for instance, you know, I make mats and stuff, and here's like the Cosmo stuff, here's like my Necros of Trishula, here's my Trishula. Come on. I think there are ways to work around, unless they're gonna claim those too. Like, are you gonna claim a fan art? Nah, like, maybe not, I don't know. I don't know the details, but that's one way to save DN. I mean, I would still like to see fan art images, and then it kind of makes the community a little more tightly knit. So, actually, I was gonna do a video about alternative ways to practice Yu-Gi-Oh! For future decks and whatnot. So I didn't release that video, but I guess I can kind of tie this into this one. So what are the alternative ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, DN was like going to be one of my closest to real life experience because, well, there's misplays that can happen. There's you're gonna call admin for ruling stuff. Like, you know, there's disagreement among players, and like, that's all part of the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience. It's just a much more literal, digitized version of that. And, you know, you can actually practice for regional more legitimately through this service. But sadly, they removed all the card images, so you actually lose a lot of that experience, and the immersion is kind of like deterred and kind of moved away from actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, looking at a bunch of black cards kind of reminds me of those anime scenes where like, I can't play the card anymore. I've lost my spirit. And then all the cards are blank. Kind of reminds me of that. Okay, so moving on. Another dueling service you guys can try and move on to is Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Dev Pro. Dev Pro, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, Salvation server, Percy server, I don't know, whatever server, Checkmate server. All these services basically give you automated Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's a little bit safer than, I guess a little bit safer than DN because all the images are hosted locally on your hard drive, and I don't think they're claiming any rights to any of these images, so, you know, whatever. Like, I can, like, you can see people that actually customize their decks to make it look like the North American anime, so there are those people too. And I guess it's a little more presentable, but yeah, you get the idea. So for these automated dueling services, it's not very good for practicing for like regional tournaments because, well, all the OCG card libraries in there, and it kind of mixes in together with all, especially in ranked play. If you want to play good players and they're all really high rated, you're going to be stuck playing against a lot of OCG decks, and you're going to see a lot of FTK decks, and by a lot, that's kind of an understatement because the service is so automated that all the searching and all the drawing is all like automatic, so it's like not as tedious to actually play an FTK deck. So you're gonna see a lot of people playing FTK. If you're gonna see a lot of these people, just play matches instead. But yeah, you're gonna play against a lot of OCG stuff. OCG stuff, well, obviously is not gonna give you the proper practice for your local regionals, right? Because, well, some of these cards don't exist, and if they don't exist, it's not gonna help your case of getting good practice because it's gonna skew your results, and a lot of these results are pretty much outliers. They don't belong in the pool of things that you need to focus on. So you actually might want to play with friends in that regard. And of course there are bugs in the ruling sometimes, and they try to do a hotfix on those. But yeah, there's like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro is pretty good. I play it online on stream all the time. You guys watch me scrub out all the time. Tombox, what a scrub. More like Tom Salt. Well, what's another way you can play Yu-Gi-Oh? Well, you can't really play online, but you can definitely test future decks with this method, which is by playing with proxies. Like, literally just print it out and like... So you can actually literally print out just proxies and just test out decks that aren't really out yet. Like, a lot of people play online because they can test the future stuff, and, well, Dev Pro and Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro obviously have that option. Sometimes they code the rulings wrong, which kind of sucks. But you can just print out the proxies and just play with proxies. Of course, you can't play in tournaments with proxies. Basically, you're keener and you're studying ahead for the deck you want to play in the future. I don't see you study this hard for school, do you? It's pretty fun, I guess, and it actually gives you the real-life experience if you print the cards out nicely. Don't print it out in black and white. Black and white cards are like, I'm playing with a bunch of tokens. They all look like tokens. It doesn't give you a good feel. If you actually print it out in nice color, I think you'll get better practice. I did it with Necros, and it made me top a lot of regionals, so... Well, that is all I actually wanted to talk about in this... that is about all I want to talk about in this video about the DN fiasco. I kind of deviated a little, but you get the idea. If you guys have your own opinions, please leave it down in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Are you actually going to move on to DN? Are you going to quit DN? You're one of those die-hard fans, won't let go of DN? You know, just tell me down below. I would love to hear your comment. Of course, there is a giveaway going on right now. Please check out the 10K thank you shout out. The link is right there. I'll probably leave a link down below as well in the description. And as always, if you guys like our videos, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe for more content. We're going to do more live duels soon. Recently got a new camera for that, and we're probably gonna do a new setup for it. And stay tuned for more Yu-Gi-Oh news, or even our own tournament series, MST.TV Open series. And you can stay up to date with us, and don't forget to like our other social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV.